Triumph Rally Explorer. This is a big bike. Like I said, I'm 6'6" tall, and this thing is on the highest seat setting. And even I was surprised at how much ground clearance there was. Sometimes I would have to choose which foot I wanted to stand on. For someone as big as me, that's a surprise.
That is significant.
It's a really big bike. But standing up on this bike is excellent. No issues. You're not feeling like you're over. You do feel like you're a bit over the top, but that's where you want to be. You kind of want to be around here when you're standing up. Very comfortable. Quite a lot of power.
Oodles.
Hell of a lot of power, especially in the rally sport mode. I felt that the pickup on the acceleration came in much lower on the rev range. So if you were off-road and you just gave it a blip at 2,000 or 3,000 revs, it just accelerated, it launched. And if it was dry, I reckon you could get it power sliding, you could probably lift the front wheel up, you could do loads with it. It's a very, very, very fast bike. And on the road it was excellent too, because you have the different modes. Fiddling around with the modes takes a bit of getting used to, because you kind of have to go from... We had a lot of rain, so I was jumping between the rain mode and the Rally Pro mode. And then you can feel the suspension going up and down and adjusting itself accordingly. But even when I was in rain mode, it does take a little bit longer. It probably comes in at around 5,000 when it starts to really pick up. But on the motorway, that's fine, that's great. And on the winding roads, that's excellent. Traction control worked really well. ABS standard.
You rode this slightly more than me, and we both commented, because where we just poke, both bikes, yes, did have the limitations in the off-road environments. Scramblers was the tyres and the ground clearance, and this one had a lot of weight up the front. Talks about that.
Big at the front. My knees were right up against over here, because it's such a wide tank. It's quite a heavy bike. I wouldn't put it through what we put it through over the last 3 days every day, because it's a proper workout. I was getting tired. It's heavy, there's a lot of slugging around it. It doesn't whip, so you can't really come in and out of ruts. You have to choose a line and then just go for it. But the motor compensates it for it really nicely. So it's probably more bike suited for touring, for long distance travel. The suspension can easily handle loads of luggage, because it's so versatile. It jumps between modes, it pumps up, it pumps down.
Yeah.
So you could do loads of good long distance traveling on this bike, and also probably go on the nice twisties, road, dirt. But the lanes and the more sort of off-road stuff that we were doing, where it was quite wet, you had to be quite measured. And at the end, by today, I was going quite slow, because it was just easier just to chug along. But I don't remember a time where we got into trouble with them. Okay, the weight got us into a bit of grief, because you kind of had to pick your lanes early, and you had to choose your line really carefully. And sometimes because it was really muddy and slick, and we didn't have the ideal tires on it, there were times where we had to sort of bail and pull out. And
you need to know your limits, basically.
You got to really know your limits. But generally speaking, an excellent bike, great motor. This is adjustable, which is cool. Don't know if this is down. Yeah.
Jace likes having a play around with things when he gets them.
You get on the motorway, you just put it, you just pull it up.
Yeah.
That goes straight. That went over my head.
Yeah. Which is what you want for a road bike.
And in the rain, you can tuck behind it, and then when you're off road, you just do that, and then you're not bumping your face onto that if you bottom out. Brakes are excellent. Cons. Maybe if I had more time to set up to personalize the modes, it might have been a little bit easier for me, jumping between the modes, especially when you're doing something like a TET. You're on the road, and then all of a sudden you're going off-road again. I had to stop, get it into the right mode, choose it, wait for it to engage, and then move on.
I think the bike's got to be stopped, hasn't it? So you can't do it on the fly.
Yeah. Yeah, you've got to stop it. You've got to wait for the suspension to come up or harden or go down. So I think if you set it up and you personalize it, you can probably flip between the modes a little bit quicker. But because these aren't our bikes, we were just using them as they were. Very heavy, not something I would want to ride every day, all day. Something I would want to go and do long distance tours with gravel roads. I would imagine this thing on the dirt, on a dry dirt road would be amazing. It'll power
come into its own, wouldn't it?
It'll pick up really quickly. It'll really come into its own if you want to do something long distance with a lot of straights. But when it's tight and rutty and technical, it's hard work. It's hard work. I would say that's a con. But then it's a massive bike, so it's not really for that, is it?
No.
It's not really for that sort of poking around lanes and jumping off little things and trying to get from one lane to the other, or one rut from one rut to the other.
Right, Jace is just going to show us his riding position.
Standing up.
Sit down. Legs on the ground.
That's with seat up.
Yeah. Worth pointing out that seat goes up and down 20 mil?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least 20 mil.
Handlebars?
See what I mean with knees? So you can imagine when you've got kit on.
Yeah.
It's right up there.